Bayelsa State set to utilize its marine and aquatic endowments through the Ministry of Blue Economy. Kano State government steps up efforts to address the effects of climate change, reviews the climate change policy draft for the second time. Plus, Gashaka National Park in Taraba State vies for UNESCO World Heritage. Correspondent examines its potential. Hello and welcome to the Correspondents this week. It promises to be educative and engaging. I'm Zenred Dingmun, and thanks for joining us. We begin with the blue economy, as Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Diri recently took a bold step to create the new Ministry of Blue Economy to galvanize the process of effective and efficient utilization of the state's marine and aquatic endowments. Correspondent Aya Prezi examines the potential and prospects of the blue economy in Bayelsa State, which has the longest coastline in Nigeria with several rivers and creeks, among other water bodies.
Various economic activities carried out on the marine and aquatic environment constitute what is referred to as the blue economy. Fishing and aquaculture, water desalination, renewable energy, maritime transportation, coastal tourism, seabed extractive industries, deep-sea mining, undersea cabling, marine genetic resources, and biotechnology are among the various areas of interest in the blue economy. Bayelsa, being a coastal state with several rivers, creeks, streams, and lakes, as well as having the longest coastline among the littoral states in Nigeria, is a typical environment for the blue economy to flourish. With such tremendous comparative advantage in the blue economy, an emerging area of economic interest globally, having an estimated base of $1.5 trillion annually and the capacity to create 30 million jobs, the state is poised for greatness. These figure investigations reveal is likely to double itself at the close of this decade. This is where the recent creation of the new Ministry of Blue Economy by Bayelsa State government is receiving commendations from experts. They describe the sector as a gateway to realization of an inclusive prosperity and the reduction of the challenge of unemployment with its attendant negative socioeconomic effects in the state.
Oil and gas sector is already going off. So blue economy is coming on board. And that's why I must commend the governor once again for tapping into this global phenomenon.
Many persons have observed who are proponents of the blue economy. The marine sector holds the key to the development of the Niger Delta region. So everything we are talking about falls in place as long as the blue economy is concerned.
As I speak to you, along the Brass rivers, the Atlantic Ocean that spans between the Brass to southern Niger, they are all filled with fishing trawlers that are owned by Chinese and other people. People coming to Nigerian waters in that axis of the state to pick on the best species.
As people whose major occupation is fishing and other marine-based activities, Bayelsans can be said to be keen players in the blue economy through the ages, though in the traditional model. The newly created Ministry of Blue Economy is therefore expected to develop a blueprint of strategies and pioneer a suitable model bearing in mind the state's level of development and current global trends with a view to maximizing the opportunities in the sector in a sustainable manner.
Over 40% of our people live along the coastline. They're already used to this thing. All you need is to give them the policies. Once you train them, because they know about shipbuilding, they know about marine transportation, they know about fishing, they know about aquaculture. So you're not taking them from that point of naivety. You are trying to develop them. And then we have the expertise.
If you go to Odioma, we have the Vanish Island, a beautiful, island by the Atlantic coastline. That place can be developed. We need to consciously develop these resources that God has endowed Bayelsa State with. I've traveled with visitors, both foreigners from America, Europe, in our creeks. towards the Atlantic Ocean. And they used to say, you have beautiful scenery.
So boat building is something that will engage a lot of our young people, and fisheries and aquaculture will engage a lot of our young people, particularly the agitators who are so used to the marine environment. That is a standing workforce, that can be deployed into the fisheries and aquaculture.
In this regard, the new ministry has kick-started moves to lay a solid foundation to attract and sustain investments in the sector that is expected to transform the socio-economic landscape of Bayelsa State.
Now, for further discussions on the prospects of the blue economy in Bayelsa State, Aya Prezi joins us via Zoom on the Correspondents. You're welcome to the program, Aya.
Thank you.
Okay, let's begin with this. Now, Bayelsa State is known as the home of glory. And with this new Ministry of Blue Economy, what are the prospects for the state?
Okay, first of all, there is something we need to know about Bayelsa State in view of this subject under discussion. First of all, Bayelsa State occupies a strategic position in the maritime domain of Nigeria, having the longest coastline among the tourist states in Nigeria. And you can agree with me that Bayelsa State has several rivers, it has several rivers, it has creeks and lakes in abundance. And before now, Bayelsans have been actively involved in the maritime economy through the ages. All this maritime, blue economy, as far as I am concerned as a person, is more of a nomenclature. The people, in terms of practical involvement, they have been there through the ages. You could recall that the Portuguese sailors came to the back of Nigeria about 1464, and who were the first people that got in contact with? They were people from this particular region. So people have been long involved in the maritime business.
Let's talk about the sustenance of this new ministry. Has the government laid down any principles, or should I say terms of reference, to ensure that it is sustained even beyond the present administration?
It's a new ministry, and what the work at hand is that of pioneering, breaking the new ground, laying a solid foundation that will be enduring, a lasting foundation that will lay the ground for this economy, this sector to thrive. So at best now, it's more of a foundation laying process.
Okay, so let's talk about government's efforts in making sure that investors are being attracted into the sector, and how conducive is the environment for such businesses?
In terms of conducive nature of the environment, at now the place is peaceful, Bayelsa is at peace, and you could agree with me that the last administration by Senator Siraki Dixon used to say that hitting the Atlantic from three fronts. And that suggests that whichever route you take, either the Bayelsa East Senatorial District, Bayelsa Central Senatorial District, Bayelsa West Senatorial District, we are going to the Atlantic. So that has been the target. And this present government has keyed into that dream by ensuring that there is road network to the far ends of the communities on that coastal borders of the state. Of course, the brass route is in progress. Navy brass route is in progress. That of Southern Niger is going. And that of Bayelsa West, Sagbama Ekirimaki, the road is now at Ekirimo, and it's that from Ekirimo to Bama. These are necessary infrastructures that will trigger the takeoff of the blue economy on the right footing.
What about the people of Bayelsa State? Because we know that nothing can happen without the cooperation of the citizens or residents of Bayelsa.
Like I've earlier said, Bayelsans are not strangers to what we refer to as a blue economy. only in terms of concept and nomenclature, they may be not really be well informed about that. But in terms of practical involvement, the people are long involved in the maritime sector. In terms of other activities, in terms of coastal tourism or tourism, as some people will refer to, they have been long involved in it. Their cultures, their customs are linked, connected to the marine environment. So they are quite aware of it. But it would also interest you to know that for the organized private sector, they are eager. Their doors are open. In fact, the leader of the private organized sector, South, is a Bayelsa. And I've had personal interactions with him, and he has assured that their doors are open to the government.
Okay, let's talk about, before we let you go, of course, let's talk about your experience as a correspondent that covers different bits in the oil and gas rich state.
Everything about Bayelsa is tied to the marine and aquatic environment, from agriculture, transportation, to that of even sporting and tourism to a large extent. What I would tell you, assure you, is that Bayelsans, when they come to that sector, Bayelsans are good players. And other areas too, Bayelsa is a fertile ground for that of, let's say, even the green economy, because Paramabri, a community in southern Nigeria, is said to have the largest wetland in West Africa. And there's a rice farm, there has been a rice farm in that place. If those potentials are developed, it will go a long way in addressing the issue of demand of the rice need of Nigeria, not just Nigeria, beyond Nigeria. Then that aside, there's a community in a Kirimo local government called Sampo. Incidentally, that happens to be my community. That also is another place that has a fertile land for rice production. Before this time, there have been active involvement of community members, but we don't know what really happened. Those are areas that the state government can actually still look into, and private participation, and if there is any way they can support in terms of loan and other things, it will go a long way. There's need for road to link these coastal communities, riverine communities, in order to ensure easy movement of produce from the coast to the hinterland. That will go a long way in addressing the issue of some of these food needs of the community, of the society. Then that aside, Bayelsa is quite an interesting place. A young state of about how many years now, Bayelsa can boast of about 4 universities, 3 state-owned universities, 1 private university, and 1 federal university, and a number of other higher institutions like Health Technology, School of Nursing, so on and so forth, even a polytechnic. And some of these ones, particularly the one at the Kewe in southern Nigeria, these are other areas that, in terms of encouragement, that where we have road to access those communities, you will see that connecting those communities would trigger more of economic activities and a lot more. Then you could also, or you also agree with me that among the South states, Bayelsa is central. And this is where oil was first discovered in commercial quantity in 1958. And that implies that Bayelsa still holds a prominent place in the economy of Nigeria because of its position as number 1, or the state that oil was first discovered in commercial quantity. So the oil and gas sector too, there is a way that the government can, or private players can do it in such a way that the teeming youth have feel the impact of the oil economy that have thrived in this part of country for a number of years. And of course, our oil producing communities, that is where the concern of quite a number of people lies on. These people produce, the oil comes from them. Therefore, it is natural that these people feel the impact of the oil economy in terms of infrastructural amenities domiciled or located in such places. If a community that produces oil and up to this 21st century, that community is not motorable, in fact, it's a thing of concern to a good number of people. So these are issues that are concerned to not only members of this community, concerned individuals or concerned citizens of the society. And that is where there has always been the call on government at all levels, not just the federal, not just the state, local and other private players, particularly the IOCs and other people who do business, to ensure that these communities are carried along, because they are the ones that feeling the impact of pollution. They are the ones that feeling the impact of all the things that the negative aftermath of these exploration activities. You also agree with me that among the South states, Bayelsa is central. And this is where oil was first discovered in commercial quantity in 1958.
Thank you so much, Aya, for your contribution on the program this week. We hope to see you again sometime soon. And still to come, a reporter's tour of the Gashaka National Park in Taraba State. And that's after this break. Don't go away.
Fellow Nigerians, this period may be hard on us, and there is no doubt that it's tough on us. But I urge you all to look beyond the present temporary pains and aim at the larger picture. All our good and helpful plans are in the works. More importantly, I know that they will work.
You're still watching The Correspondents. Let's turn our attention to climate change. The Kano State government has reviewed its climate change policy draft for the second time. This is designed to address the challenging impacts of climate change and ensure a sustainable future for all citizens. Correspondent Elizabeth Yila Lamido reports that the state is the second after Lagos to develop a comprehensive climate change policy. A bill to that effect will be ready for presentation to the State House of Assembly for legislative consideration.
Kano State has over the years been grappling with severe climate challenges due to widespread deforestation, fossil fuel, and methane secretion, causing intense droughts with increasing temperatures and erratic rainfall patterns that disrupt agricultural activities and the entire economy. To mitigate these compounding climate-related issues, Kano State Watershed, Erosion and Climate Change Management Agency hosts a stakeholders engagement for the review of the Kano Climate Change Policy Draft.
People in Kano State, 70% source their livelihood from agriculture, and this policy addresses issues specific to agriculture, such as drought.
After this validation workshop, we are going to take the final draft to the House of Assembly, and after then they will take it to the Executive Governor to assent on the law. So then we start the implementation.
We will give all the necessary support to make sure a viable and reliable document of law comes out after this meeting from the Kano State Assembly, inshallah.
Stakeholders from diverse sectors, including education, health, and the environment, as well as members of the State House of Assembly and international partners, took turns to contribute to the policy review to make it a viable and effective document.
That's correct, Elizabeth. The devastating effects of climate change requires concerted efforts at all levels of government to make Nigeria a better place. Many thanks. And now to tourism. It will soon be a dream come true for the Gashaka-Gumti National Park in Taraba State, as agencies responsible for the propagation of tourism and culture in Nigeria have teamed up with the African International Documentary Festival Foundation to drum its potential. Now, the park has been on the tentative list of UNESCO's heritage sites, but getting a seat on its Hall of Fame, the World Heritage status, has been elusive. Correspondent Abdullahi Mohammed visited the park and brought back this report.
A small round table, big task. The task of winning a pride of place for Nigeria's biggest national park on UNESCO World Heritage status. Gashaka-Gumti National Park, with its unique fauna and flora, no doubt has all it takes. Is it the array of rivers that flows in it, or the highest peak in Nigeria? The people's way of life, or hot brew of the tea produced on the highlands. The park has been a national monument, but a UNESCO World Heritage status will no doubt open its gates to the outside world. And the pool of cultural and tourism experts on this round table understand the selling points.
Tourists most often are always elated going to the park because it has a lot of visitors options.
The National Troupe of Nigeria would like to learn about these dances. We're not going there to teach them anything, we're going there to learn. And when we learn, we bring it out for the world to understand.
And it has to do with awareness raising, because we want the whole world to know that there's a park like in Nigeria. This is the largest park in Nigeria, and it's also an untouched wilderness. We need to preserve what we have. We need to protect what we have.
If the same partners that we have, that we worked with on Sukur, would apply even a fraction of the energy that they applied in Sukur, we would have tremendous success in this particular program.
With a quorum of brains that made it happen for Sukur World Heritage Site on this round table, it's only a matter of time Gashaka-Gumti National Park gets a ticket to the UNESCO World Heritage status.
Indeed, Abdullahi, the biodiversity of Gashaka-Gumti National Park is home to a wide variety of wildlife with the huge potential to offer the global community a tourism destination if harnessed optimally. Many thanks, Abdullahi. And on that tourism note, we conclude the correspondence this week. Thank you for always being there, and hope to see you again next week for another package of the program. From all of us here, it's bye for now.